Supplementary A. Understanding the requirements of Clause 4 of ISO 15189:2022. Learning objectives. Understand that the requirements of Clause 4 of the standard ISO 15189:2022, know what to do, have and look for in Clause 4 of the standard ISO 15189:2022. Note, all text highlighted in red is the reference to the applicable clause of ISO 15189:2012. 4. General requirements. 4. 4.1 Impartiality. 4.1, 3A and 4.14.5. The laboratory shall undertake its activities impartially. The structure and management of laboratory safeguards impartiality. Management commit to impartiality. Demonstrate commitment to impartiality. Be responsible for the impartiality of its laboratory activities. Address commercial, financial, or other pressures to compromise impartiality. Monitor its activities and its relationships to identify threats to its impartiality. Monitor relationships of its personnel. When a threat to impartiality is identified, the lab must eliminate or minimize the effect so that the impartiality is not compromised. Demonstrate how it mitigates threat to impartiality. What to do, have, and look for in 4.1. Define an impartiality policy. Define a procedure for maintaining impartiality of laboratory activities. Contractors/external service providers agreement must address impartiality. Records of impartiality, i.e. risk assessment and opportunity sheet. For point 2 confidentiality. 4.1.3e ethical conduct. 4.14.3 assessment of user feedback. 5.1.5 training. 5.2.2 A. Laboratory and office facilities. 5.10.1 general. For point 2.1 management of information. Manage all patient information obtained or created during the performance of laboratory activities. Have legally enforceable agreements holding it responsible for the management of all patient information obtained or created during the performance of laboratory activities. Ensure that management of patient information by lab takes care of privacy and confidentiality. Inform the user and/or the patient in advance of the information it intends to place in the public domain. Define which information is considered by lab as proprietary information. Regard proprietary information as confidential. For the general requirements. 4.2 confidentiality. 4.1.1.3 ethical conduct. For point 2.2 release of information. The laboratory, when required by law or authorized by contractual arrangements to release confidential information, does the lab notify the concerned patient regarding the information released? Keep confidential the information about the patient from a source other than the patient. Keep the identity of the source confidential. Ensure not to share the identity of the source with the patient unless agreed by the source. For the general requirements. 4.2 confidentiality. 4.2.3 personnel responsibility. New. The laboratory management shall ensure all personnel keep all information obtained or created during the performance of laboratory activities confidential. All committee members, contractors, personnel of external bodies, or individuals with access to laboratory information acting on the laboratory's behalf keep such information confidential. What did you have and look for in 4.2? Policy for confidentiality, procedure for maintaining confidentiality of patients' information. Contractors/external service providers agreement addressing confidentiality. Impartiality and confidentiality agreement. Records of confidentiality. For point 3 requirements regarding patients. 4.1.2 needs of the users. The laboratory management shall ensure that patients' well-being, safety, and rights are the primary considerations. Provide patients and users with publicly available information about the examination process, including costs when applicable and expected date. Time of results continues. For point 3 requirements regarding patients' 4.1.2 needs of the users, the laboratory management shall periodically review the examinations offered to ensure they are clinically appropriate and necessary, disclose to patients, users, and any other relevant persons of incidents that resulted or could have resulted in patient harm where appropriate. Disclose to them the records of actions taken to mitigate those harms where appropriate. The laboratory shall establish and implement processes for treatment of patients, samples, or remains with due care and respect, obtaining informed consent when required, ensuring the ongoing availability and integrity of retained patient samples and records in the event of the closure, acquisition or merger of the lab, making relevant information available to a patient and any other health service provider on request, upholding the rights of patients to receive care sans discrimination. For point 3 requirements regarding patients' 4.1.2 needs of the users. What to do, have, and look for in 4.3. Patients' Rights Policy. Has the lab established and implemented the processes for treatment of patients, samples, or remains with due care and respect, obtaining informed consent when required, ensuring the ongoing availability and integrity of retained patient samples and records in the event of the closure, acquisition, or merger of the lab, making relevant information available to a patient and any other health service provider on request, upholding the rights of patients to receive care. Sans discrimination? Thank you.